Hello, everybody. We're the epistemologists here, and our topic of the day is alternative viewpoints, and we have a nice, interesting discussion already going in progress, talking about just the way that we go approach how to find truth and how to find explanation, a good explanation. You have to understand and look at all sides. And people say that, but we really take that to heart. We want to understand and we want to know all the possibilities that could be, and see which one seems to fare the best.
Yeah, you have to look at uh, the things that seem to be the most interesting, especially contrary views to what you're used to.
Yeah.
Um, you want to find the examples of where you're potentially wrong in order to improve your understanding of what's happening.
Yeah.
So, whatever your worldview is, you're going to try to hammer it to find the weaknesses.
And so and that's a great way to sort of not be caught unawares, to not be caught off guard, because you understand what the possibilities are. And lately there's been a lot of talk with QAnon that they're a nefarious actor, and we long ago considered that possibility, that both QAnon or Trump or all of these things are nefarious actors.
I would say it's still on the table too.
Oh yeah, and it's still on the table.
But we tend to follow or take seriously the view that is seems to be the most has the best constraint.
Yeah.
It feels like it clicks right into place. It explains a bunch of things that nothing else you really you don't usually get that with other explanations. And all of the other telltale signs that you have a good guess.
Yeah, and why don't we go into our little bit? So, for us, the thing that we had considered early on, especially knowing the way that a lot of the elites and a lot of people like to look at the world, they like to see the sort of ritualistic, dark to light, the Masonic checkerboard sort of. You have a period of darkness and a period of light, and they switch in between them. But nothing in the higher, the overhead really changes. So the leaders are still in power, but you have a period of nice and a period of bad, a period of good and a period of bad. And that just keeps things interesting, so that people don't get keyed in to what's really happening, and that it's all a puppet show. And
yeah, we had a video pretty early on about the bad, like being the good guys and the bad guys being funded by by one entity.
Yeah.
Or organized or supplied or whatever, supporting.
Yeah, it's something that we have thought about quite a bit, and it certainly could be true that we are all essentially, the whole QAnon phenomena, the Trump phenomena, all of those things are happening according to a script or according to a predefined plan that is to essentially keep humans progressing at an even rate. So we might see progress, but the progress is stifled so that it's controllable. And we wouldn't see unbounded progress.
So we've also mentioned a bit about the two universes that are kind of straddling. That there's basically a mainstream media universe, and there's a QAnon or theory universe. But we've lately been proposing a third option, kind of a derivative off of the conspiracy theory view.
Right.
That just attempts to fill in some of the gaps that it doesn't get promotion by the Q team.
Yeah.
In general, it's this idea that the deep state, the old regime, is by and large has been made into a monster. That they put all the secret societies of old have put all of their resources into producing a monster. Only for the coming of this next era where a light bringer, a Luciferian hero of sorts, will come into the picture, and they'll put all of their resources into making them the most heroic figure, and then vanquishing the massive monster that they created just for this particular purpose. It's a big theatrical production.
A ritualistic theatrical show so that whatever hero figure they have will become, undeniably good. So good that people will be, yeah, whatever you say, man. You can do whatever you want. And because they slaughtered something so diabolically evil that and you look at things like Europe and the desire of the sort of globalist idea, and it seems pretty, it's almost to a point where it's unbelievable that people would think that any of that is a good idea, or that people wouldn't notice, sort of thing.
There's some things that you question a little bit, why the deep state is revealing themselves to the extent they are. A lot of them are just crapping the bed in a lot of ways. Maybe they're just not playing their cards right. But why would Nike, for instance, put the Illuminati logo on one of their shoes?
Yeah,
why would anybody, why would all of the artists in music industries start flashing the Illuminati triangle?
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Why would you reveal the monster unless this was some kind of
sort of
production.
Sacrificial thing? You're going to slough off the old.
You're playing the role of the sacrifice.
Yeah.
You are the monster, and you're going to be vanquished by the new hero.
And like a lot of things, this is a hard thing to disprove. We don't really deal with the type of knowledge that is easy to prove, or can even be proved. Because
a lot of times we're just dealing with the real world, and in the real world, it's a big superset on top of logic. You can really only prove something in the logical realm,
right?
With any rigor. So if you start stepping outside that into the real world,
the muddy, murky real world,
you just have constraint. That's it. So you just keep piling on constraint as resources allow, and you'll get better guesses, better than you had.
Right. And so we don't really look for truth like a lot of people look for truth, or look for some sort of something like that. We look for better understanding of what's going on. And that means that we have to sort of have a bunch of different theories that we compete, and we see which one seems to hold out the longest, or which one with more modifications seem to do the best.
Yeah.
And
we find that truth ends up being more opaque than you'd think.
Yeah.
Because you end up getting an attachment to it, and you'll get sort of hung up on the fact that this thing is true, and you don't see that there's
You start
throw you off
screaming
balance.
into the wind.
Yeah, when other people don't listen to you, you're like, I have facts.
Yeah.
You just look dogmatist, or
Dogmatic.
yeah, dogmatic, or
And we've seen this with Seaman and Fulcrum News. They're such a that's such a beautiful and
David.
prime David Seaman and Fulcrum News. That's such a beautiful and prime example of that happening.
He was taking so much flack early when he came out against Q, and
yeah,
a lot of people are like, why are you doing this? And he's like, yes, I have the greatest sources, and I'm certain in all caps.
Yes.
And that just makes it doesn't matter if you have the truth at that point. You look like you don't.
Right.
You look like you're insane.
And what people were asking for was, how does he know? What makes him so certain?
Yeah.
And he never really seemed to give that.
Because he said, I have the best sources. But honestly, sources are not reliable.
Yeah.
So why do you trust them?
What did they say to you?
What are their motivations?
What did they say to you?
We know nothing about any of this. So
yeah, what did they say to him that gave him this impression?
So when you're asking for how do you know, you're not asking for what foundation are you justified in knowing this, in being confident. We're asking what explains this.
Yes. Well, why is it this way and not some other way? If someone says to you that the sky is red, then why?
You're asking for a true explanation, an actual explanation. You're not asking for, what certainties, like why do you feel certain and all that? No. You want the explanation. But a lot of people will do this sort of swap in their mind when they're answering that question. How do you know?
Well, because it's easier to answer, well, I have the best sources, than to try to go through and explain everything that you've heard. And that's really what we're asking for, is for people to have the intellectual rigor to explain what they've learned.
Yeah, right, exactly. A lot of truth seekers, self-proclaimed truth seekers, will forget that the only access to the truth that you have is through a good explanation. You don't have facts coming in and you just trust these facts to be true.
Yeah.
You only have the explanation of the facts that ever conveys the understanding of truth. And the understanding of what's true is what's important, not the fact you have the truths. Truths are cheap. Yes. In a lot of ways. We have a lot of truths. We know a lot of things. It's not a big deal. But what is a bigger deal is understanding what you have.
Yeah.
You have it all, you would say.
Oh, cute.
You have more than you know.
And it's frustrating. I mean, the whole Q phenomenon has been frustrating. Our last video was about that. But it's also... not
really. We're not anti-Q in any sense at all. Far from it. There's very interesting phenomenon.
Yes.
But it seems that it's possible to have a view that is not... It shows the good guys to not be as stellar as they want you to think they are.
Yep.
But you're not worried about the FEMA camps and the gulags and the chemtrails choking us all out and all that the preppers have been worried about for I don't know how long.
Yeah.
Years and years and years. I'm not as worried.
I'm not as worried about that either.
Because look, if the secret societies expect this to be the great switchover to the new regime,
they're going to want to make it good for a couple years at least,
a few
years at least, I
don't think they're going to be rolling in the enslavement thing this time around, because that is a property of the old age and they know it.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're trying to bring in the new age. Now, it means that they're also kind of complicit in the old age.
Yeah. Of course.
But it means that we might not have much more to worry about. Just give it maybe 5-10 years or so, and we'll know a little bit more. Just a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see. And of course, we're predicting the future here, so I guess in the end, you got to say we'll see. We'll see what happens.
We will see. Yeah. Hugh just gives us the next milestones, sometimes long in advance. He doesn't really say when.
Yeah.
His prediction power is very poor.
Although it is nice to see Q fulfill a prediction, something that
whenever it happens.
Yeah.
Or just confirm that they knew something.
Yeah, which is nice. Anyway, I think we can stop it here. This was the Epistemologers. Please comment and like and or subscribe and give us some conversation. Call us lunatics. Do whatever you want. And I guess you'll hear from us next time.